Hello, everyone, and welcome to the life and suffering of Prince Jerian. All right, I don't want to talk about it. I've been gone for quite some time. I apologize, but here we are. But anywho, this is the sequel to the life and suffering of Sir Brante. It's a game I played on the channel. What was it, maybe 2-3 years ago now? And I really did enjoy it. It did irk me on certain things, but I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed the story. And I really wanted the devs to come back to this because it did seem like a very interesting world. And here we are. Now, they are having a Kickstarter right now. As you can see, there is a link at the bottom right here if you want to go ahead and help fund that. But right now, the playtest is available for everyone. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? Character name, Darren, sure. Good Lord, I can't spell my own name. Chapter replay, sure. Consequences, let's go with hidden. I'm gonna go with hidden. As far as hints, I'm gonna also make that hidden. Just to, not have any cheats or anything. The life and suffering of Prince Jerian is a game of choices and consequences. Every decision you make shapes the story, unlocking some paths and closing others. You will not always overcome the challenges you face, so be prepared to fail. At times, the choice you want to make will be out of reach because you are not ready, your strength is depleted, or you have bound the protagonist to a different fate. The world of the game will not bend to your wishes. If you want to leave your mark on the world, you must be ready to sacrifice, to surrender what you hold dear, to betray what is important to you. You will face difficult choices and you will live with their consequences. Victory will not come easily. That is what gives it value. The Life and Suffering of Prince Jerian is a game about becoming a ruler, struggling for power, and fighting to change the future of your empire without abandoning your true self. Pain and suffering are part of this story. They help the protagonist grow and understand himself. Accept your weakness, your vulnerability, and your powerlessness, for they are all part of the plan. Live Prince Jerian's life so that in the end he may find purpose, not happiness.
Memories. The pages of an unfinished book. A lifetime flashes before my eyes. Who were these people to me? Who was I to them? What have we done? What have we accomplished? My life, the life of my nation, they have become inextricably intertwined. But now the time has come to ask myself the truly important questions. Questions I must answer now, no matter how much I might want to hide from them.
Obscurity is the coming-of-age chapter of our story. In it, you will begin developing your character as a person by building his skills, innermost beliefs, and relationships. By the end of the prologue, you will determine what your protagonist will be like and what he will devote his life to. His influence over the world will grow with each passing year. Eventually, his actions will determine the fate of the entire empire. So what kind of person will Darren become? It's up to you to decide. Darren will be a dictator. It is pretty much well known that I love the dictator route if I can. So we'll see how this goes. And if I do remember correctly, in the life and suffering of Sir Brante, you also played the demo. Well, for the demo, I mean, you did turn around and start with the first chapter, kind of building things up. And my God, after that, the game takes a turn. So let's see how this goes. What was the purpose of your life? Everyone asks this question when their life is about to run its course. be they emperor or slave, simply because their time is up. And it is only natural, for you will face the divine twins soon, and they will see you as you are, their gazes devoid of both judgment and love. You will be yet another dull, clueless mortal who accomplished nothing during his brief time in this world. Rude. You started writing this book to work out just what your life was. What was the golden thread that pieced the disjointed moments and days together to form the tapestry of your fate? But now that the book is almost finished, you still feel empty inside. Maybe you got lost along the way. Maybe you took a wrong turn, made a bad decision, chose the wrong person, and all meaning simply vanished from your life, winked out of existence, evaporated like smoke drifting up from an extinguished candle. And you had more than most. You had the power, respect, and authority. But did any of it fill your life with meaning? Your friends, your lovers, your mother, and your father, your ancestors and descendants, all of them hold a piece of your heart. But what do they mean to the twins, and to you for that matter? Were they the reason you kept going? Or is your legacy the answer? The things you will leave behind? All the changes wrought on the world at your behest? Then again, maybe you were always driven by a striving for personal freedom, an ability to break free from the bonds of normalcy and propriety and live the life you wanted. Perhaps this is what matters to those who live in the shadow of the shining pillar and those who will meet you at the peak. There's something that drives you and gives the strength to fight. It spurs you to action, urges you to make sacrifices, achieve victories, and perform feats of valor, or back down and betray those who trusted you. This explains the way you lived and the decisions you made. So what is it? What is the one thing worth living for? Let's see. Changing the world, duty, love, and affection, your own freedom and desires, your own greatness. Life has no meaning. Changing the world or your own greatness? I'm between those two, and I think I'll go with changing the world, because this world sucks. The book lies open before you. You found the answer you were looking for. Life is nothing if you don't use it to change the world, make your mark on it, or bring to life the ideas you believe in with all your heart. That inexhaustible desire to set the world in motion was the guiding thread that led you through life, one day at a time. You will be remembered as a paragon of steely resolve, willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of your vision, for the sake of something you deem to be right. You wanted the world to hear your truth, and it did, and that truth shook the world. That's right. It was all there, living in you, guiding you. It made you who you are and justified what you did. So why can't you put the matter to rest and close the book? Haven't you found the words to speak before the everlasting throne? You hesitate. Memories of things past flood your mind. You recall the events, the faces, the smells, the flavors. A street right after the rain, a patch of soft grass beneath your head, horses neighing, the clamor of the crowd, the clashes of steel, a touch, another person's lips on yours. Cold, condemning silence, bitter disappointment, fear, madness, and passion, a weak glimmer of hope. The past sweeps over you like a tide. You sit motionless, peering into your book. What could you have done differently to be sure of your answer right now? What could you have done to avoid this fear and confusion? Is changing the world really the true measure of a person's life? What if you missed something? What if there is something much more important than ambition, your personal vision, or the things you believe to be right? You go back to the first page of your memoirs, scanning the lines in search of the things you might have missed. Feels like your life is beginning anew. The book transports you back to the days before you were born. You're not ready to put it down yet. The Millennial Senate? I wonder if we're going to get that far. All right, click an unlock chapter if you'd like to return to the beginning of it and continue playing from that point. All right, we'll go to me being 4. That was a while ago. The year 1120, chapter 1, Obscurity. Chapter stories. The key events in a chapter are tied together into stories. Your achievements and failures throughout these stories will shape your fate. Okay. Phantoms of the Future, Unbreakable Bond, Teacher's Pet, and Darren. Let's see. You made real childhood friends who will always be part of your life. Teacher's Pet, you lived up to your mentor's hopes by focusing on your future. And Darren, you managed to preserve part of the person you were before your birth. Fascinating. Okay. And of course, here's me at 4. Blood, your tendency to remain faithful to traditions and obey your ancestors. Will, your ability to stay true to your own desires and strive for personal freedom. Logic, your tendency to analyze a situation before coming to a carefully considered rational decision. Passion, your tendency to perceive the world through your emotions leads to sentimentality, ambitiousness, and pride. Love, you're striving to observe the divine law, mete out and accept due punishment, and maintain order. And love, your inclination toward divine love, compassion, and sympathy. Okay. So I'm guessing everything is balanced for now. And this is different. I think before you had like valor and things like that. But I'm guessing this time around, you won't be personally involved in things. It will just be you making decisions. Skills. Management. So you can be apprentice, adept, bureaucrat, management expert, or great bureaucrat. Your aptitude for financial and administrative tasks. Diplomacy. Let's see, your aptitude for negotiation and political maneuvering. You could be a great orator. Okay. And scholarship, your ability to resolve theological and scientific conundrums. And you can be a great scholar at max here. Okay. Now let's see how these work out in practice, because I've played a lot of choice of kind of games. And sometimes there can be, I've always said that sometimes there can be way too many choices and sometimes they just don't play into it. But it seems like, again, with this character, you're going to be more of the talking type. So you got to focus on something like that as opposed to having some weird ass stat that you have to worry about that just kind of comes out of nowhere. Anywho, the stranger. Your path lies across the colorful pattern of the carpet. You have to be very careful as you hop from one little island to another. A single misstep, and you could tumble into a lake of lava. A menacing giant rises before you. He guards dusty old books during the day and watches you with his glassy eyes at night. You creep by, trying not to wake him. Another hop, you're almost there. Today, you'll make your way to the big, unexplored wardrobe on the far side of the room. You're finally going to find out who lives there. Sometimes the wardrobe dweller makes the door creak just a little. Some kind of shadow seems to flit through the depths of the great wooden box every time you walk by. And at nightfall, when you can see the sun setting through your window, something in the wardrobe shimmers, almost as though it's giving you a sign. At last, you finally reach the wardrobe. The door is closed. Your mysterious roommate isn't making it creak or casting colorful spots along the wall. You wonder, if you can't see him, is he even really there? The handle is so high you can barely reach it. You stand on your tiptoes, straining for the handle. There. Now you just have to pull it down without letting it go, and the door opens. You trip and fall face first onto some heavy articles of clothing. The fabric is all different to the touch. Some of it scratchy, some smooth. Sneezing from the dust, you reach out to push the clothes apart and make your way deeper into the wardrobe. Someone stirs in the darkness. You freeze. Was it just a trick of the light? Suddenly, a pair of eyes flash deep inside the wardrobe. The wardrobe dweller recoils, then steps forward, staring at you. Your heart feels like it's about to burst out of your chest. Who is he? What does he want with you? Why is he here? What if he creeps out of the wardrobe one day? What if he creeps right up to your bed when you're asleep? Your hands clench into a fist. The anger within you is at war with your curiosity. What does the wardrobe dweller want? Why is he hiding in the dark like this? Is he like you? Does he have any toys? Maybe a flute? Yeah, right. The stranger stares at you intently. There's something odd about the way he's acting. You should attack first and show him your strength. Seize the upper hand while you still can. You're 4, sir. Or should you wait and see? Take a closer look at him. Perhaps you could become friends. Let's reach out. Who knows? Maybe, I'll get some weird-ass power that makes me super strong. You will display friendliness and curiosity, reaching out to the wardrobe dweller. You gingerly wave to the stranger. Hello there. He waves back. He copies your movements perfectly. What if you make a silly face at the wardrobe dweller? He sticks his tongue out as you too. So that's it. The stranger is your exact copy. He's you. You touch the cool, smooth surface that divides you. Your double reaches tentatively toward you. Outstretched hand. Toward your outstretched hand. Jesus. He's just like you. But there's something vaguely unsettling about him. His piercing gaze makes you shrink backward. You are one and the same, yet somehow different at the same time. You lean forward, waving your arms. The double copies your movement exactly. You seem to be able to control him. But what if he decides to act on his own one day? You cast one last glance into the dark depths of the wardrobe before closing the door. The double keeps staring at you. Logic. Is this a logical thing to do? Two years later. Cornelius's guidance. This morning is just like all the others that have come before it. The air feels thick and stuffy, making it hard to breathe. The walls are slowly closing in on you. Yet another unbearable day locked in your room. Ages ago, before you learned to walk, people used to carry you around. All sorts of faces would float above you, speaking in high-pitched voices, frowning and smiling. They used to make pleasant noises at you, play with you, teach you to talk, sing nursery rhymes. With them, you were allowed to laugh and cry, learn new things, and expand your view of the world. But in the end, they always walked out of the door and disappeared, leaving you alone. You know every little nook and cranny of this cursed room. Every single crack in the wooden furniture has been etched into your memory. The dusty smell of the heavy curtains on the windows permeate your entire being. You've explored everything there is to explore here. You already memorized all the pictures in the books. There are lots of books in the room, but very few of them have pictures. You hear footsteps in the hallway. Servants come and go every day, cleaning your room and feeding you. A wrinkled nursemaid walks into the room with a bowl of porridge, seats you at the table, gives you a spoon, and sits down to wait. You've asked her over and over again to let you out, but she always says no. I can't. You have to stay in your room. But for how long and why? No one will tell you. You hear an unfamiliar commanding voice right outside your door. You don't know who it belongs to, but their order is obeyed at once. The door opens. You remain rooted to the spot, overwhelmed by a combination of impatience, curiosity, and fear. As your guest steps over the threshold, you gasp in shock. You've never seen such a gigantic person before. And his skin is blue. And his eyes. The blue irises are so bright, they seem to glow. That's when you realize that you've actually seen blue giants like this in your books, but you've never thought they were real. The visitor gives you an appraising look. The intensity of his gaze and your rising anxiety give you goosebumps. Why has this person come to see you? What does he want? Hello, child. My name is Cornelius. I will be your mentor. Cornelius Tempest. That is quite a name. Don't be disturbed by the color of my skin. I'm an Arcanian. Blue blood flows through my veins. You must have a lot of questions. I promise that they will be answered in due time, but for now, come with me. Your palms grow sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy, your heart pounding madly in your chest. Did this Arcanian just invite you to follow him? Are you really about to leave your prison? You quickly crawl down from the chair. The nursemaid behind Cornelius clears her throat, then musters the courage to tell the Arcanian that you aren't allowed to leave the room. Overcome by hope and anxiety, your mouth goes dry. You freeze in anticipation. A shadow falls over Cornelius's face. The tension in the air grows palpable. He remains silent for a moment, and finally replies without turning to face the servant, his voice like ice. I know the rules, and I say that they no longer apply. See that you never speak out of turn again. Come, boy. The nursemaid gives you a silent bow, stepping aside. Your heart thrums with excitement. You hurry out of the room after your savior. The hallway seems to stretch on forever. The windows are made of dozens of colorful little pieces of glass, forming intricate patterns. Outside, you see a marvelous garden, the carefully pruned topiaries, and trees you've never seen before, becoming a kaleidoscope of images flashing before your eyes. The sheer number of exciting things hidden beyond your door takes your breath away. There are strange objects everywhere, along with countless new scents and amazing colors. You touch the leg of a steel white figure as you walk by. It feels smooth and cool to the touch. You've so much to learn and experience. As you round the corner, the floor rises upward. You find yourself in a spacious upstairs room with lots of doors. There are guards posted next to one of the doors with long, velvety strips of cloth hanging to the sides. The strips have a winged silver serpent on them, twisting and baring its teeth. As you approach the door, Cornelius has been silent all this time. Turns to face you once more. For a second, he looks just like that serpent on the cloth strips, exuding the same aura or forbidding magnificence. Listen closely now, child. I know this is all new to you. You'll have to work hard to come to grips with it all. You have a great future ahead of you. To meet it head on, you need to study. You need to gain experience. Stay focused. Get to know the world I've given to you today. Live in it. I will help. And we'll start right now. Come. Cornelius lets you into the room, striding in confidently after you. The walls are covered with paintings of blue giants with real swords and shields hung between them. Countless tomes fill the bookshelves. The legs of the desk and chairs are decorated with ornate carved patterns. They look nothing like the ones in your bedroom. A slightly older boy with a head of unruly brown curls is sitting in the far corner by the window, swinging his leg in boredom. When Cornelius guides you closer, the boy gives you a big grin and waves in greeting. This is Ferdinand. He'll be teaching you today. He'll help you learn everything he knows. Isn't that right, Ferdinand? Of course, teacher. As they say, your head is a vessel for knowledge, not just food. I'm sure we'll stuff his full. Excellent. It's high time the boy learned his words and numbers. Reading will allow him to explore the world through books, while arithmetic will teach his mind order and discipline. Pick one for today and study your chosen subject. I have business to attend to. You hang on every word that comes out of your rescuer's mouth, still struggling to believe your good fortune. Cornelius suddenly leans towards you, putting his face right at your eye level. Remember what I told you. Study, learn the ways of this world, and stay focused. Cornelius gives you a final pat on the head and departs. Ferdinand doesn't waste any time grabbing your hand and giving it a firm, though not painful squeeze. His face splits into a sneaky grin. Well, hello there. It's nice to finally meet you. You must have been bored out of your mind in that room. Stammering anxiously, you tell him that the loneliness of your room has been wearing on you, and you're glad to finally have something new to do. I can't imagine. You'd probably find Ions, the Elder's Chronicle exciting at this point. By the way, what's your name? You look away, embarrassed. No one has ever addressed you by name before, so you find yourself at a loss for words. Ferdinand looks at you, perplexed. There's a character from this one novel. Why don't I call you Darren for now? I'm sure you'll appreciate the irony when you read The Dueling Society. Really? You shrug indifferently, but agree. You have to repeat the new name to yourself quietly a couple of times to make it stick. Ferdinand puts 2 books full of big characters and pictures in front of you, but then his face scrunches up in thought. He turns to look at the sunlit balcony visible through one of the windows. Cornelius has a meeting with Archduke Monroe right now. I'd sure love to know what kinds of secrets they're telling each other. But this lesson... Say, what if we take a teeny tiny little sneak peek at what they're up to? In case something really secret and in case it's something really secret and important. The textbooks lie open on the desk before Ferdinand, but his eyes keep straying to the balcony. Cornelius said that you needed to study. You can't wait to make sense of all the squiggles you've seen in books. But Ferdinand's idea sounds just as tempting. Learning other people's secrets seems so exciting. Insist on a reading lesson, insist on a counting lesson, or let's go spy. I hate math, so let's insist on reading. We're not going to sneak around. We're going to be dutiful, so that way we can terrorize people later. Insist on a reading lesson. You remind Ferdinand about what Cornelius had said. You were brought here to learn how to read, and that's what you want to do. Ferdinand isn't particularly happy with your decision, but gets swept up in the lesson before long. The book before you looks simpler than the ones you've perused in your room. Each page contains only one character with a picture next to it. Ferdinand explains that these are letters and teaches you how to combine them into syllables, which in turn forms words. Ferdinand teases you a little whenever you make mistakes, but it doesn't hurt your feelings. He has a little story to tell about every picture in the book. He knows so much. You want to be just like him when you grow up. Hey, you've got a healthy appetite for knowledge. I know a fellow bookworm when I see one. Let's try reading now, okay? Remember, the scary creature on the banners out in the hallway? That's called a dragon. It's on the Tempest crest, and this is the first letter of the word. Time flies as you look at the pictures, learning the first letter of this word and that. Cornelius comes back when it's already dark outside. You're proud to report that you've learned 10 whole letters today. He nods, clearly pleased, and puts a hand on your shoulder. Excellent. You're working at a good clip. Hopefully you'll be able to read by the end of the week. You return to your room, warmed by the knowledge that this isn't forever. You're going to be able to learn new things every day. I feel like the fog is lifting from the world around you, and everything suddenly has a reason, meaning. But you still have so many questions. Just who is your strange savior? Why did he decide to break the rules and free you from captivity? What does he really want from you? All right, I'm well on my way to be an apprentice scholar. Or wait, an adept scholar. Two more years later. Growing up, your days feel like marbles rolling faster and faster across a wooden floor. It seems like just yesterday you were struggling to reach a book on a high shelf, or give your toy soldiers a boat ride in one of your slippers. And now you're sitting on a hard bench behind your desk, gripping a thin, unwieldy quill pen with your ink-stained fingers. A lot has changed since you first met Ferdinand. You're almost never alone now, since Ferdinand isn't your only teacher. All of them are strict and demanding, but you always feel excited about your lessons. You finally have someone to talk to, someone to ask all the questions buzzing around inside your head. Some tutors tell you all about stars and the laws of nature. Others read you legends of old. Ferdinand brings you picture books and big old maps that smell faintly of something sour. You're eager to learn as much as you can about this world, although your teachers never stray beyond the topic of their lesson, as though all other subjects have been cordoned off by some kind of invisible line. That invisible line is the last game, probably. You study diligently, without knowing why. Whenever you ask, your teachers avert their eyes, their gaze. You've tried asking Cornelius, but even your mentor has no clear answers for you. He says that the purpose of your efforts will be revealed to you later. You grip the pen too hard in frustration, and it snaps in your hand. When exactly is later? Still, you can't stay mad at Cornelius for long. His soft, slightly melancholy smile makes you feel all warm and happy inside. Cornelius is the only Arcanian you've met. You're always eager to see him and listen with bated breath to everything he has to say. Every day, a new door seems to open before you. Your world expands, becoming progressively more complex and nuanced. Little by little, you explore the halls and galleys of the palace. You had no idea how vast it truly was. It's astonishing how much the mere ability to leave the building has changed your life. The sky so endlessly high above you, the palace park with its pond round as a button, the rustling wind and the clouds. You cup little spots of sunlight in your palms. You sense that the world is kind and will always keep you safe. The warmth makes you feel lazy and content. You squint up at the sun and pause to think about your future. What will it be like? The future. The phrase feels solid and scratchy as you roll it around in your mouth. You can't wait for it to come. You might want to wait. The world around you is enormous. You have to pry its secret out one at a time. But there's no doubt in your mind that one day it will all belong to you. Okay, got some diplomacy and some management. The future. Okay, that's all I just read. And yeah, got a little bit of diplomacy, got a little bit of management. Divine Grace. The last day of the week is for resting, so you set out to explore the palace grounds. There are nondescript servants' quarters hidden in the shadow of the far wall. You decide to take a closer look at them today. As you get closer, you notice a boy and a girl your age playing with a puppy. The furry creature is darting between the children, panting and trying to yank a stick out of their hands. The two keep tossing it to each other and laughing, but then they spot you. Hi, want to join us, your lordship? Come on, we don't bite. You can see genuine curiosity in the children's eyes. Their simple, patched clothing is very different from your fashionable jacket, but nothing in their smiles indicates jealousy or resentment. You approach them, suddenly shy, but trying not to show it. The puppy runs up to you, sniffing your leg. Hey there, my name's Emil, and this is my friend Martha. Where's Martha? Hi, looks like Buster here likes you too. Want to play with us? You join them, your heart fluttering joyously. Buster struggles in vain to catch the stick as the three of you pass it to each other. The park fills with peals of laughter and the dog's loud barking. Martha fumbles her throw and drops the stick on the ground between you. Seeing his chance, the puppy rushes to claim his prize. But not so fast. You manage to grab his brown tail just in the nick of time. Sharp pain suddenly pierces your hand. As you snatch it back, you realize that your sleeve is torn and your fingers are covered in blood. Buster gives you the guiltiest look his puppy eyes are able to convey. Oh. You feel his wet muzzle poking you as the puppy tries to lick the bite better. You don't hold this against him in the slightest. You scratch his ear, telling him it's okay, not a big deal at all. A shadow falls upon you. A lanky man with a bushy mustache towers over you and the other children. His sharp eyes zero in on your bleeding hand. My God. The unsuspecting puppy is wagging his tail, excited to keep playing. Still silent, the stranger unsheaths his sword and runs Buster through in a single indifferent motion. The dog yips and starts wheezing, his paws scratching against the ground. Are you a maniac? The puppy's big wet eyes comes to rest on you as the fear and pain in them fade to nothingness. The terrifying man stands there, watching you dispassionately. He calmly asks Emil and Martha not to hurt you, then flicks the blood from his sword and walks away. You hear him order a servant to have your wound treated. A lump rises in your throat. You clutch the puppy's limp little body close to your chest. Tears roll down your face as Martha's cries ring in your ears. Emil is frozen in impotent grief. Martha presses up against him, crying on his shoulder. How can you fix this? How can you take it all back? How did this happen? Buster never bit anyone. It feels as though you've forgotten how to breathe. How could this have happened? If you'd never come here, the dog would still be alive. The thought burns like fire, and you can't seem to stop your tears. The boy and the girl kneel down next to you, petting their dead friend. For a while, the only sound that breaks the silence is your quiet sobbing. You force out a shaky, sorry. This all feels like your fault. Eventually, Martha stands up, wiping her face with her dirty sleeve. Let's go to the temple. The twins will help us. You ask if they are really going to give the puppy a new life. No, the gods do not grant rebirth to animals, but they will help us cope with the pain and set us on the right path. Haven't you ever been to the temple? You shake your head and ask them to tell you about the twins. The elder gives us his love, while the younger makes sure everyone follows the rules. Come see for yourself. The temple isn't far. Emil and Martha grab your hands and start dragging you somewhere. Before long, you see a beautiful building decorated with carved stone pillars. This must be the temple of the twins. Maybe if you tell the gods about what just happened, you'll feel better. There are two big statues right after you walk in. You can't miss them. They're the twins. The elder has a lash and the younger has a sword. I always tell the elder about all my troubles and mistakes, so he'll wrap me up in his love. I think you should talk to the younger. He's fair. He'll tell you if it's really your fault or not. If you're guilty, just accept his punishment and you'll feel better. Yikes. Pick one of them. Go ahead, we'll wait here for a bit. Your mouth goes dry from trepidation as you walk up the grand staircase. All you can see is this wheezing dog dying because of you. Which of the gods will you approach? The one who will console you, or the one who will assess your guilt? Ask the elder for consolation, ask the younger for justice, but it seems I have the option to come to both. Let's go to both. The temple is mesmerizing in its vastness. Curiosity dulls your pain for a moment. You want to learn a little bit more about the mystery in which these statues of the gods are shrouded. You decide to approach each of them in turn. You take several steps towards the figure of the elder, who is gripping a lash. An unfamiliar feeling washes over you like a wave. You realize that you are not alone anymore. And that's not all. You never have been, and you never will be. Divine grace fills your heart, and you begin to breathe easy. It is as though you're one with the entire world. The elder's eyes bathe you in care, tenderness, and compassion. You're part of a great plan, a united family living in this eternal bliss. Your mind grows clear, filling with joy. The sorrow you felt dissolves in a love that knows neither blame nor judgment. You want to stay here, floating on this cloud of love, but your curiosity urges you to move on. What is the other god like? The one who holds a sword. You tear yourself away from the statue of the elder and approach the younger. The figure holding a sword gives you a stern look. Cold, mercilessly bright light fills the temple, exposing things and actions for what they truly are. No secret can hide from the younger's gaze. Mortal trappings blown away, your bare soul faces divine judgment. The younger looks at you and finds you blameless. A dog is nothing before the law of the twins. The true shape of things become clear to you. It now seems obvious that you have committed no crime. Your soul seems to unfurl, freed of its heavy burden. Your mind grows clear. Your limbs feel light. Ever curious, you look up at the high, arching ceiling of the temple. Is there anything above the two gods? If there's something besides them? You think you see some kind of shadow lurking up there, but then you feel dizzy and have to lower your gaze. The world is so full of wonders. You've looked into the faces of gods and come to know them. This thought fills you with power and joy. You expect to see Emil and Martha as you exit the temple, but they've already left to bury the puppy. You make a promise to look for them and tell them what happened at the temple. You feel a sort of kinship with your new friends, something important that's hard to put into words. You'll be sure to find them. You will meet them again. All right. Got a little bit more scholarship. A little bit more, and I'll be to the next level. Also, if you play the next game, there's some interesting stuff with the twins. That's all I'll say. It's in my playthrough. The Lotless. You've come to the park after your lessons for the last couple of days, but Emil and Martha haven't been there. You wonder where they might be as you drag a stick through the mud, drawing shapes. Suddenly, you hear Emil's clear voice call out to you. Finally, you rush to your friend's side to ask them where they've been all this time. Hey, Darren. Martha and I just went through the rite of the sacrament. We got our lots in the temple of the twins, and, well, we had to stay home for a couple of days. The sacrament? Lots? You've never heard of these things before. You ask your friends to tell you more. What, you don't know? Didn't your parents tell you? The twins gave people 3 lots in life. Anyone who defies their lot is doomed to eternal suffering at the foot of the shining pillar when they die. Martha suddenly starts to sing, tapping her foot in time with the beat, a carefree smile on her face. When the twins come down to earth, they brought lots for every birth. Let us count them, 1, 2, 3. The twins made them for you and me. Nobles rule and bravely fight. They protect us with their might. Priests work hard to understand, guide us by the twins' commands. Common people work and toil, always patient, never spoiled. Live your lot where you were born to the day when you pass on. Know your lot and know the prayer for the twins see everywhere. It sounds like your friends have been told how they should live their lives from this point on. They've been shown a path they can follow without having to think. You ask them what happens when someone receives their lot during the sacrament. Emil pauses to think, looking away. Then he just turns around and hikes up his shirt in the back. A wide, angry red scar runs across Emil's scrawny back. It's just a lashing for the lowborn because our lot in life is to work, endure, and suffer. It hurts to move at first, so Emil and I stayed home. The scar will serve as a reminder to us. Don't look like that. Having a lot is really important. Everybody suffers, but at least now our pain will have a purpose. It'll bring us closer to the twins. Man, I got words for the twins. I like that it's my lot to work. The gods were really smart when they gave us the lots. Working can be nice, especially when you're good at something. And all our hard work will be rewarded by bliss on the peak of the shining pillar. Your friend's humble glee makes jealousy claw at your insides. You ask if everyone has a lot. Of course, the twins assign a lot to every single person. How can somebody live without knowing who they are and what they were born for? That's why you have the sacrament when you're a kid, so you can know your fate and your place in the world as soon as possible. So when are you going to have yours? You shuffle your feet, feeling self-conscious. There's nothing for you to say. Emil and Martha's parents told them about the lots. The only people you could ask about yours are Cornelius and Ferdinand. Will they answer? Why are you so different? Why is your destiny still so vague? Emil and Martha notices your confusion, but can only shrug. A discomforting weight presses down on you. You decide to leave. You say goodbye, then trudge back to your room to spend some time alone. You feel lost. You wonder which world you really belong to. The cold austerity of the palace, the lessons with Ferdinand and Cornelius, it's all preparing you for something important, something much bigger than yourself. Your mentor said you had to study so you could be ready when he needed you. But when will that time come? What do you need to get ready for? The questions just keep piling up. Emil and Martha are so genuine, so open-hearted. It seems like they're willing to accept you as one of their own. They make you feel warm and happy inside without asking for anything in return. But you're not like them. Where exactly do you belong? No one else has to wonder about their fate or their purpose in life. Everyone else has all the answers ready for them the moment they're born, but not you. It seems you'll have to choose your own path and face the consequences. You toss and turn, the little song about lots stuck in your head. Sleep eludes you, just like the answers to all your questions. A single word keeps echoing in your mind: lotless. One's lot. The whole family is gathered around the table. It's Martha's family, but they don't make you feel like an outsider. This isn't your first dinner with them. At first, they welcomed you into their home with caution, even trepidation. But they opened up eventually, offering genuinely happy smiles, asking involved questions and showing you what hearth and home really feel like. They've gotten used to you, and you like coming here. It's nice and cozy. You enjoy the quiet affection Martha's parents share, their warmth and acceptance, and the feeling of kinship they inspire in you. This place makes you forget that you're different without parents or a lot. The juicy slab of meat on your plate smells of cloves and cilantro. Martha's mom says it's a family recipe passed down to her from her grandmother. All Moritz women know it. Martha's mother goes on to say that even when a woman marries into another family and takes her husband's name, a little something from her birth family stays with her. She goes by Peters now, but Martha's mother still keeps the special Moritz recipe alive to pass it down to her daughter one day. There will come a time when Martha will change her last name too, but she'll still make this recipe for her husband and remember her mother. You thank the woman for the food, telling her how delicious it is, but your mind is elsewhere. Why does everyone have a last name? You. Why don't you have anyone to teach your family traditions or pass your ancestors' wisdom down to you? Martha's father, a short, balding man, asks you and Martha about your day. He's soft-spoken, and his eyes look a bit sad and tired. You tell him you've been teaching Martha to read. Pleasantly surprised, he offers to lend you one of his books. As a scribe, he has a modest library at home. Martha's mother is trying to talk you into having seconds when you hear heavy footsteps outside the door. Are you just going to kill the family? Jesus Christ. Martha's father suddenly looks worried. Ducking under the doorway, a stranger enters the room without so much as a knock. He's elegant and finely dressed, with pale blue skin and smoldering eyes. Everyone gets up from their chairs, the conversation abandoned. You're so startled, you almost drop your napkin. You notice the tense line of Martha's father's shoulders. Her mother's knuckles turn white as she clutches the hem of her dress. Martha casts you a frightening glance, but looks down a moment later when the Arcanian comes closer. The newcomer takes a seat at the table, a sinister smile slithering across his face. Now that's a name. Tarquinius Milanitis. Please pardon the intrusion. I couldn't help but notice the enticing smell of your feast from outside. I suppose we have the lady of the house to thank for this sumptuous repast? Martha's mother nods and murmurs her thanks, her eyes trained on the floor. The entire family stands tense and silent, darting meek looks at their late-night visitor. You've done quite well. Diligence and hard work pave the path to bliss for people like you, yet those who grow lazy or simply lack the skill are doomed to a very different fate. But where are my manners? There's no need to stand, my gracious host. Please, sit with me. The stranger's words are sickeningly polite, but his voice has a steely ring to it. Martha's father sits down cautiously, thanking the visitor for this honor. His wife heads to the kitchen, still glaring at the nobleman, as though he were a savage beast. The lady of the house comes back and puts a plate of food in front of the Arcanian, along with a knife and two-pronged carving fork. She apologizes for receiving such a distinguished guest in such unbecoming poverty, then gives him a low bow and asks him to dine to sample this humble meal. The visitor cuts the meat unhurriedly. Pinkish juice pools on the platter. The Arcanian turns to face the man of the house. You are right-handed, aren't you? Oh, God. And stabs his fork right through the lowborn man's left hand. Blood splatters on the tablecloth. The fork has gone clean through the man's hand, pinning it to the wood. You hear a dropped cup shatter on the floor. His face, a pale white, Martha's father shakes like a leaf but somehow keeps from crying. His wife makes an aborted motion to come to his side, but then she looks away and stays put. Everyone bites their lips to keep silent. The only sound in the room are the father's quiet whimper as he pleads for forgiveness. The visitor continues in a patronizing tone. As you can see, a job poorly done brings suffering both in life and the hereafter. The Blue Book preserves the great legacy of the Milanodicists. You missed a word while transcribing it, a heinous offense. To labor is your lot, so you must do it well. Martha's father nods over and over, groveling and promises to correct his mistake. Martha's mother offers to serve the nobleman the good wine they keep for special occasions. This is the least she can do, given that such an important guest has graced their home with his presence. I wouldn't mind some wine, but bring us 2 glasses. With a quick curtsy, Martha hurries back carrying a dusty old bottle and 2 wine glasses. With that done, she returns to her mother's side by the table and averts her gaze meekly. You wonder what's going to happen next. Suddenly, the visitor turns to you. You don't belong here, boy. You should spend more time in the company of nobles. These humans are weak, subservient cattle. All they can teach you is obedience and servitude. Have you already forgotten your guests, my gracious hosts? Martha's father serves the wine, his right hand trembling. His left is still pinned to the table, and his lips have not lost their pallor. He spills several large drops on the tablecloth, forcing out a smile through the pain. He murmurs obsequious words of gratitude to his guests. He has learned a valuable lesson and feels greatly honored by the visit. The sight is so humiliating you can't help but cringe. What could these people possibly have to teach you? To serve others and apologize? Since Cornelius let you out of your shell so soon, you ought to stay with your equals, not lower yourself to the level of this common riffraff. The strong will elevate you, while the weak will render you just as insignificant as themselves. You should study and listen to Ferdinand. He is a noble and a companion much more appropriate to your stature. Is he your son, perhaps? The man never takes his eyes off of you, as if the others don't even exist. He offers you one of the ruby red glasses. To the power of the Arcanian houses, and to your grand future. Drink with me, and never set foot in this hovel again. The Arcanian watches you expectantly. Toasting with him would be your first step into the great world of the Arcanians. But is that a future worth betraying your friends for? Or maybe you're reckless enough to argue with this powerful visitor on behalf of the poor owners of this house. Well, I can't stand up for them. So yeah, let's drink. Oh, I'm going to be a massive douche in this playthrough. The Arcanian said, your grand future. What did he mean by that? You meet the visitor's haughty gaze, but can't bring yourself to ask. You lift the glass to your lips and take a sip. The wines taste sweet. It burns you from the inside and brings a flush to your cheeks. Your muscles feel with strength, your shoulders squaring on their own. The visitor nods in approval and smiles. You don't really want to look at Martha's family, who are standing there like statues. They avoid looking you in the eye too, silently and subservient. Martha is the only one you nod to on your way out. Sure, you enjoy playing with her when you have time, but you won't be mixing with her family anymore. After leaving Martha's house, you go to find Ferdinand. Locating him doesn't take long at all. He's in the library where you'd had countless lessons with him before. Ferdinand jumps up as soon as he sees you. Darren, good to see you. I was just thinking about you. How I was talking to my friend Gunter Elbreen yesterday. We had the most fascinating discussion about the rise of the Empire. I'm looking for history books to test my theory. Do you know what I've come to realize? Even though this is the Arcanian Empire, it wouldn't be where it is today without the human nobility. According to the lots, only nobles have the right to rule. The Arcanians are born and bred into the nobility, but there are too few of them to run an entire empire. So when the empire expanded to include the entire known world, humans began to act as the local authorities. The Arcanians need us. Without us, there will be no empire. The Arcanians are also very conservative and tend to cling to the past. We humans have shorter lifespans, but we're more adaptable, which means we advance more quickly. Most recent breakthroughs were made by humans. You spend the rest of the evening with Ferdinand. His keen intellect makes him a compelling conversationalist, no matter the topic. His comportment shows no sign of the bowing and scraping you saw in Martha's parents. Perhaps that strange nobleman was right after all. You belong with nobles. People should only mix with their equals. Oh boy. I'm 11. The Parade. The Arcanian Herald issue 106. The entire city of Eterna is abuzz today. Every street and every house suffused with festive anticipation. The bustling crowds are congregating at the city center. Many have come to our capital from afar to watch the annual military parade and see the academy graduates take their vows. Eterna can seem overwhelming on your first visit if you're used to the sleepy pace of the provinces. The air here is intoxicating. It makes you dizzy as if you were high in the mountains. Eterna doesn't flirt with you. It assaults all your senses, using all the weapons at its disposal. Horses neighing, merchants squabbling, music played by street performers. It all comes together to form the unique voice of this city. The capital buzzes like a beehive, showing off its gorgeous architecture as carriages speed past you, their wheels squeaking. The streets are all decorated with lanterns and wreaths. The crowd of humans and Arcanians in front of the main square looks like an endless ocean. His Imperial Majesty, Uther Tempest II, sits in the stands in front of the Academy, observing his countless subjects with august poise. The seats by the Emperor's side are taken by his advisors and wise noblemen in full regalia, their swords glistening in the sun. Their solemn faces are turned toward the regiments occupying the square. The Supreme Sovereign and his court watch the Imperial cavalry march across the pavement. Thoroughbreds walk in orderly rows, their gait prancing, but perfectly contained. Their riders' polished armor glints in the sun like jewels as their banners flutter in the wind. The provincial troops stream past the Emperor like a mighty river right behind the cavalry, colorful striped banners flying proudly above their heads. The one in the forefront depicts a silver dragon under the imperial crown and the symbol of the twins, a cross in a circle. This is the crest of Arcania, the heart of our great empire. The silver tree on a field of sable is for Magra, a southern region bleached white by the scorching sun. Golden ears of grain on Vert is the symbol of Monia. Its fertile land feeds half of our empire. Illyria, the empire's industrial and commercial center, marches beneath a yellow griffin. The banner depicting a gray mountain on a red field belongs to the 5th Legion, a seemingly endless stream of troops from the 3 northern provinces, Fiona, Hermia, and Constanta, united under a single flag. Bringing up the rear are the legionnaires, or legionaries, who bear a white banner with a blade upon it. They represent the highlands of Estonia, where the Knights chapters are stationed. The parade has been going on for so long now, the citizens' legs are beginning to tire. Oh, how vast is our empire. Our students' textbooks and maps could never hope to get this message across with such staggering effect. It is only here that one can grasp the truly awe-inspiring majesty of our great nation. Finally, all eyes are drawn to a single figure in the stands that seem to glow with glorious radiance. The people in the crowd crane their necks to get a better look at the blessed face of the Emperor, the supreme ruler and protector of everything under the sun. The Emperor watches his marching troops with calm dignity. The elite regiments line up on the square, and then the graduates of the military academy step forward. They draw their swords as one and recite the sacred words of their oath, swearing allegiance to His Majesty. The Emperor listens to their vows before standing unhurriedly and lifting his hand in a welcoming gesture. Silence descends upon the square in an instant. Even the horses dare not to utter a single sound. The very stones and trees hang upon the Emperor's every word. The Emperor accepts the oath. He says that today marks the beginning of their path to glory. The graduates of the military academy are the first to be granted the right to serve in the Imperial Guard on par with Arcanians. May they not tarnish the honor that comes with their lofty rank. The Emperor raises his voice to declare that this pledge is a sign of great trust, both from the Empire and him personally. His Majesty expects the new recruits to serve him faithfully and never disappoint him. Each province is home to thousands upon thousands of subjects. Only part of the great Imperial army has gathered here today. The Empire is colossal, all-encompassing. No human or Arcanian can fully comprehend its size. We all bow before a single man, every aspect of our lives controlled exclusively by him, Emperor Uther Tempest II, anointed to reign by the twins themselves. All right. Why did equality go, elitism. Why did elitism go down? I'm assuming because this is an event for everybody? The past, the present, and the future. You sit at your desk scratching the wooden surface. The apple trees in the park are in bloom, filling the classroom with their sweet fragrance. Time seems to flow like molasses. Ferdinand is twirling his curly locks around a finger, his cheek propped on his fist. Your mentor's eyes are trained on you too as he paces the classroom. His voice fills the space around you. The blessed Arcanian Empire stretches from one sea to another in all cardinal directions. There are no countries or peoples aside from the Arcanians and humans who live under the twins' protection. Arcanians are different from the humans in many ways, including our blue blood, which gives our skin its distinctive hue, our superior strength, and our longer lifespans. Arcanians were the ones who laid the groundwork for the Empire. The humans we subjugated then assimilated into our culture and learned to live by our laws. The humans submitted themselves to the Arcanian authority, working their way up from slaves and peasants to guild masters, scientists, and even nobility. How do you suppose Arcanians would get along without humans? They'd probably just languish over their genealogy records and look to the past for all their answers. They'd never know the wonders of technological and scientific progress that humans have pioneered. There is some truth to your words, but we are talking about Arcanians today. The Emperor rules supreme over the entire world. That said, some Arcanian families hold a great deal of power as well. We call those families the Great Houses, like House Stark. Only someone from a great house can receive the title of Overseer from the Emperor and rule one of the 8 provinces the Empire is divided into. The Empire's ruling dynasty is House Tempest. The Tempest reigns supreme among all the other great houses in all matters at all times. I'm sure the previous ruling dynasty of the Arcaniuses thought the same thing until the great houses, their reign short. Cornelius's face darkens, but he chooses to ignore the barb. When your mentor continues, his voice sounds even firmer than before. The throne was granted to the Tempests by the twins. They bring the gods' love, law, and will to the people of this world. Now I'm going to explain the relationship between the Tempests and the rest of the great houses. The peace in our blessed empire depends on balancing the agendas of various bloodlines. The ability to negotiate with them all is of paramount importance. Mentor, all this talk about Arcanian society is like sleeping drops to us. Why don't you tell us something that's actually interesting? For instance, why do my lands have sizable tax imposed on them while those belonging to Arcanians do not? And why do I have to waste money on maintaining a garrison if the Empire's enemies are long gone? You've come of age, Ferdinand. You have a title and your own lands now. I see you are eager to prove yourself a talented ruler. But every ambitious noble needs to understand the inner workings of the great houses and how they affect the overall political landscape. So I shall continue. Back me up here, Darren. We need to stop digging around in the past and learn something that could actually impact our lives. Our future depends on the things we study right now. Do you agree with Ferdinand? Would you rather focus on matters of imperial governance than delve into the subtleties of Arcanian diplomacy? Or is there perhaps a subject that would capture everyone's attention and bring the argument to a close? Aha, I have a third option. Let's propose our own subject to discuss. You ask your mentor to discuss the recent advancements and changes in the Empire. This topic could be of interest to all three of you. Look at that diplomacy already. The tension between Cornelius and Ferdinand is almost palpable, but remembering how passionate they both are about progress, you ask your mentor to outline how the Empire has changed in the recent years. Ferdinand nods enthusiastically, and you see a spark of interest in Cornelius's eyes as well. There have been many changes since Tarquinius Melanitis left the post of Great Chancellor. The Empire relies on humans much more these days. The new laws have given lowborn people a new degree of freedom, which has led to an upswing in technological advancement. Humans have occasionally managed to make breakthroughs in agriculture, metallurgy, and construction despite their short lifespans. Ferdinand joins in enthusiastically. It's clear that he finds this topic pleasant and interesting. Humans changed a lot once they were given the opportunity. The invention of gunpowder 2 years ago opened up new horizons in mining. The rate at which silver and other metals are mined has increased by leaps and bounds. The conversation flows easily. The recent tension is completely gone now. You spend the day discussing various new developments and ideas that hold great potential for the Empire. As you say goodbye, your mentor puts a hand on your shoulder. I'm happy to see you being so proactive. You need to understand the current workings of the Empire. It's absolutely crucial for your future. You keep thinking about his words once you're left to your own devices. What exactly is your place in this power structure? And more importantly, why do people refuse to tell you? All right, I am now adept as far as scholarship goes. And I'm on the good side of Cornelius and Ferdinand. Arthur's probably pissed. Obscurity. Heretics in high places. An unsealed letter to be delivered via third-class mail to Marcus the blacksmith at the inmost house of Baron Elborn's estate, Anazet. My dear friend, I hope this letter finds you well. Remember how happy you all were when we learned I was to be posted to the capital. It was like I'd won a prize at the fair. Thought the gods had finally smiled upon me. Well, it turns out that serving the court isn't exactly a bed of roses. I spend days sitting in a huge chamber with the other bookkeepers. We check and double check the treasury's expenditures as though there were some hope of finding money that isn't there. You tear a piece of paper with your quill, and the chief bookkeeper roars like a wounded moose. He might even give you a box on the ear as though you were a schoolboy. We all sleep in the same room. They say whoever gets past the first probationary year will be transferred to the palace grounds and even allowed to start a family. I'm just worried they'll replace all the servants with someone more well-mannered and nicer for the Arcanians to look at. There are rumors. They treat us like garden tools. All they care about is that you do your job and don't cause any trouble. I haven't seen our good lords even once. They're probably too busy comparing their magnificent family trees or dusting off the heirlooms they're so enamored with. Well, I did bump into a delegation on my way out of the palace once. I barely had time to hide behind a corner to keep out of their sight. The procession looked very nice, all white horses and carriages, but the Arcanians who arrived were way too straight-laced and wore strange, long robes. They say it was Luke, the Patriarch of Arcania, on his way to a meeting with Junius Diamant, the head of the Austanian Church. Both Luke and Junius are up to some strange business that sounds almost like heresy. People say they're followed in Patriarch Photis's footsteps and abandon Asataeus' teachings. Apparently, they don't follow the lots. They reinterpret the scriptures, and they even let commoners read holy books. And, like all rot, that pestilence makes its way down to us lowborn folk. Even when the higher-ups remind the youngsters about their lot, they just smirk when they think no one's looking. Someone really needs to put the fear of the gods into them. It's so bad, I once saw someone reading the Holy Scriptures at night. A travesty. He stashed the book and tried to convince me he'd just taken his work to bed with him. Likely story. The food's not that great either. We had fish soup yesterday. Can't really call it a chowder since there was barely any trace of the fish left in the broth. That's to be expected, I guess. They say all those factories have polluted the river in Eterna beyond recognition. No good fish to be found here now. The good lords and ladies must have it delivered in ice or something, and then we get the fish gut soup. I miss you, my friend. I know life can get hectic, but please remember to write back and say hello to your sister for me. Twins willing, we will see each other again. Best wishes, Hendrik. Dogmatism, Jesus. The societal drive to uphold religious dogma and accept the authority of the clergy, jurisprudence. The societal drive to establish secular law and protect personal freedoms. Now, I do kind of wonder, how many of these are going to cross with each other, because maybe I can do jurisprudence, but then have the blue blood stuff, but then have some other progressive things and stuff like that. I wonder how that's going to interact with each other. The nobleman's lot. The sticks make a clacking sound as they collide. Emil rolls forward trying to hit your legs. Today, the two of you are valiant knights caught on the opposite sides of an attack against Eterna. Lowborn people aren't allowed to fight, but this is just a game. Emil assured you it's not against his lot. The vacant lot you found is the perfect place for a fight. Apparently, nobles used to have real duels here before the ban. Martha watches you and Emil twirling a strand of hair around her finger. The three of you still spend time together when you're not busy with books in the classroom. You catch Martha's eye and, in an attempt to show off, make a daring jab at Emil's arm. Martha gasps in fright. You purse your lips. It's only natural that Martha values Emil more since they knew each other before they met you. You will always be the newcomer in your little group. Their bond must be much stronger than yours. But then Martha turns to you. Her smile makes the anxious thoughts vanish into thin air. She is going to get killed. You abandon your play fight when you hear the sounds of hooves approaching the clearing. There are 6 riders, their mounts leaving a cloud of dust in their wake. Without saying a word to each other, you and your friends scurry behind a tree, ready to watch the proceeding avidly. The riders dismount. Their clothes look expensive. They have swords attached to their belts. Everyone looks anxious but solemn. One of the nobles ceremoniously asks if the other 2 might settle their dispute peacefully. You're in luck. This is a real court of honor. A young officer with puffy sideburns proclaims excitedly that he doesn't want anyone to die, but will not change his mind about marrying his opponent's sister. They're in love, and they refuse to let the Elcorvius's conceit stand in the way of their happiness. His opponent, a handsome nobleman with bright blue eyes and a streak of gray in his hair, shakes his head as the younger man speaks. Your family are nobles of the mantle, your title earned prematurely after a few years in the military academy. You were born a commoner and took the sacrament of the lash. Your children will not inherit your noble title. They will live the commoner's lot. My sister's family, which you're insistent on marrying into, are nobles of the sword. Our titles has been passed down from father to son for 100 years. You may have earned an honorable title, good sir, but you have no ancestors living in your blood tide. You are utterly alone, while I have the valor and skill of all the generations of Elcorvius at my back. You do not stand a chance. You would be wise to withdraw from this duel. Are you the Avatar? Did they come out or something? The officer with the sideburns objects fervently. His noble status is no worse than Elcorvius's. He earned it by proving his worth. While it might be true that he wasn't raised a nobleman, he knows a thing or two about honor and cannot possibly withdraw now. The officer realizes that he is outmatched, but prefers death to dishonor. Sighing, the arbiter declares that the duel will be fought to the lesser death. These men have failed to find a just outcome to their dispute, so the court of honor will now determine which of them is right. The opponents retreat to the proper distance, saluting each other. The duel is over before it even begins. The noble of the sword evades the young officer's strike with effortless ease. The officer freezes, his face rapidly losing color. A blade is sticking out of his back. As the would-be groom slumps to the dusty ground, his body begins to dissolve into silvery mist. The arbiter declares that the Elcorviuses have won the dispute. The nobles leave in silence. What a shame. The guy was so plucky and so much in love. He's lucky it was just a lesser death, though. He'll be reborn in the city temple in the morning. If they duel to the true death, he'd be over and done with forever. I wonder what happens to the souls of nobles in the hereafter. Do they face the twins' judgment, or do they remain in the blood tide, watching over their descendants? Father Joseph says all souls, without exception, go to the shining pillar. The blood tides preserve only the legacy of noble ancestors. Arcanians and hereditary nobles can hear the voices of their lineage, granting them the wisdom and strength of past generations. But these are the memories stored in their blood, not souls. Emil isn't listening to Martha. He points his stick at you, his head held high. His eyes burn with rapturous awe as he mimics the officer's tone. My noble statue is no worse than yours, and unlike you, I earned it. Nothing you say or do will make me stop loving your sister. Scratching up his face, Emil pushes his hair down to imitate sideburns. Apparently, you are supposed to protect the honor of all nobles of the sword and your quote-unquote sister in particular, since your friend has decided to play the role of the paramour. If your conceited family thinks I'm not good enough, then I challenge you to a duel. Prepare yourself. You give him a haughty smirk, reminding Emil about the generations of ancestors at your back. Emil is doomed. Suddenly, Martha grabs your hand and leans over to you, whispering in your ear. Can't you just let him win, Darren? You know Emil's been having a rough time of it lately. I'd hate for the two of you to fight for real. Just let Emil have this one, okay? He really needs it. Please? Emil holds his sword at the ready, eager to start the fight. Should you listen to Martha and let your friend win, or should you win in a fair fight? You are stronger, after all. Or maybe you have some feelings you can no longer keep silent about. Yep, I doubt I have those type of feelings. I'm gonna let Emil win. It ain't that deep. Giving Martha a surreptitious nod, you start the duel. Emil fights without holding back, as if his love and honor really are at stake. You can see all his swings before they land. It would be very easy to dodge them. Still, you make a point to move slower and end up taking painful hits to your shoulder, midsection, and sides. The fight doesn't last long. Emil waves his stick around furiously, his eyes burning with the thrill of the battle. You strike back, but not as hard as you can. Finally, Emil kicks you to the ground. You've lost. I won't let you keep us apart anymore. Not even the power of your entire blood tide can stand in the way of our love. I've proven to you and your ancestors that I am worthy of my beloved. Emil offers you his hand magnanimously, helping you up. His posture is more confident now, his head held high. You can see how much this victory means to him. You turn to Martha, but she only has eyes for Emil. My hero, let me put some ointment on your bruises. My champion needs his wounds treated after a fight like that. The girl gives you a grateful wink, while Emil isn't looking, then takes him by the elbow and pulls him away. You're left standing there dumbfounded, watching their backs as they leave. Your whole body aches. You can feel bruises blooming on your skin, hot sweat stinging your scrapes and scratches. You struggle to wrap your head around what just happened. Why did Martha leave with Emil even though you did as she asked? Why? Frustrated, you kick at the rocks on the ground, but your indignation only serves to raise a cloud of dust. You begin your trek back home. Come morning, Emil is waiting for you in the park. You don't really feel like talking to him after yesterday's fiasco, but your friend catches your sleeve as you try to walk past him. Hey Darren, you okay? That was an epic fight we had yesterday, huh? Don't sweat it. I'm sure you'll do better next time. You give Emil a weak nod and ask how his evening with Martha went. He blushes, but clearly feels pleased with himself, and he tells you that they went for a walk, and then kissed. You force out a smile before staggering back home. This is so unfair. Well, whatever. I am destined for someone more worthy of my blood. Justice and compassion. You rap insistently on Emil's door. You're eager to show him the scrape on your forehead you got falling off the old apple tree, and ask why he hasn't been around for a few days. Even Martha has no idea what's going on with him. A friendly, stocky man in a carpenter's apron opens the door. Emil's father, Alfred, smiling. Oh, Alfred, okay. Smiling, he wipes the sweat from his forehead and offers you his calloused hand. Hello, Darren. Emil's out right now, but please come in anyway. We're always happy to have guests. You can wait for Emil inside. As soon as you step inside, you're accosted by the cries of Emil's 3 younger siblings, 2 sisters and a brother. The father of the family gives a good-natured chuckle and tells you that he's promised to carve a toy horse for his children once he's done with work. You can't wait to see how it's done. Alfred takes you into his workshop. The furniture is of solid quality, clearly handcrafted by the man himself. The workshop has a wide workbench with a variety of tools laid out on it. The smell of fresh wood shavings fill the room. Take a look at my current projects. In a week, this statue of the elder will adorn our chapel. You walk forward to take a closer look. The statue is still a work in progress, but you can make out the beginnings of its divine features even now. Its face magnificent and love. There's a big leather-bound book by the statue with lives of the twins embossed on its cover. You arch your eyebrows, surprised. Everyone knows that only the clergy are allowed to read the sacred scriptures. Interpreting the divine word and teaching the will of the twins to people is their lot in life. To all others, it is forbidden. I can tell you didn't expect to see a holy book here, but how are we supposed to know what the gods expect of us if we don't make the effort to study their word? Patriarch Photis teaches us that we all need to find our own path to the twins. The lots were written by Saint Isataeus and represents his personal path. The twins never actually gave us any rules to live by. Oh boy. Alfred lovingly scrapes an engraver's bearing down the wooden folds of the sculpture's clothing. That's when the door to the workshop slams open, admitting Emil. A grim-looking priest in the black velvet robe follows him in. A silver cross enclosed in a circle dangles over the man's broad chest. It is the symbol of the twins. Please come in, Father Joseph. He's here. Dad keeps saying scary, foolish things all the time. He lies to me and my younger siblings, and they listen. Please make him see reason. The priest's stern eyes scan the room before piercing the man of the house. His booming voice fills the workshop. I can see that you've abandoned the path outlined for you, Alfred. A layman shouldn't seek to learn the God's design, for that is the lot of the clergy. Don't you know that failure to follow your lot leads you to eternal suffering at the foot of the shining pillar? You cannot atone for your sins or receive forgiveness. The younger will judge your guilt and mete out your punishment. You have trespassed against the will of the twins, Alfred. You were aware of the consequences your actions would have for your soul, but I will not let you poison the minds of these innocent children. They must not be subjected to your appalling, ruinous words any longer. They must toil and suffer as all low-born people do. Only through obedience to their lot will they be saved from an eternal torment and find bliss at the peak of the shining pillar. Emil's father looks up at the priest towering over him. His voice trembles, full of defiance and yearning for justice. But the teachings of the lots were written by Isataeus, a commoner. He showed us one path, but it's not the only one. Patriarch Photis says that everyone needs to find their own path to the twins, just like Isataeus did. Aside from the younger's law, there's also the elder's love. It graces everyone, be thy clergy or lowborn, which means that anyone can strive to understand the gods better, to become closer to them. There is no equality between the estates, nor can there ever be. Come closer, boy. Give me your hand. The priest is talking to you, his eyes trained on your forehead. He pulls out a thin silver slab and begins whispering a prayer. A warm glow fills the room, and you recognize echoes of the divine grace you felt in the Temple of the Twins. The silver in Father Joseph's hand crumbles away into glittering motes of dust. You touch your forehead and are amazed to feel smooth, healthy skin. The scrape is gone. But the grace of the twins silenced the voice of heresy in your confused heart, Alfred. If everyone is born equal, then why can a servant of the gods like me perform miracles and you, a simple layman, cannot? The man of the house is silent and dejected. A pleased smirk splits the priest's face for a moment, but his voice sounds strict and powerful when he speaks. You have failed to save yourself, but think of your children. Have you any right to risk their fate in this life or the hereafter? The sinners at the foot of the pillar writhe in searing flame and freeze in biting cold at the same time. Their souls are torn apart in agony and despair. The children are trembling with fear. They grasp their father's hand and beg him not to doom them to eternal suffering, their eyes filled with terror. Alfred clenches his fist in impotent despair. There are tears in his eyes, too. Despondent, he looks up at the unfinished statue of the elder. Stop this. The twins wouldn't have created us just to suffer. I cannot believe that there is no hope for those of us who seek the gods' mercies. These pathetic moans of a doomed sinner do not deserve an answer. You've made your bed, but there's still hope for your children. Come with me, little ones, and you will be saved. Clutching at Joseph's robe, the children follow the priest out of the workshop. Alfred's body is racked with sobs. He doesn't even try to hold back the tears. Emil watches his despairing father, his childish face contoured by hurt and betrayal. Words fail him. He turns to go, but addresses you before he leaves. Let's get out of here, Darren. You can come to the sermon with us. Emil holds his hand out to you. You can hear his father sobbing behind you. Oh. Why am I involved in this? This is your deal here, sir. Well then, huh? You stay with Emil's father to hear him out and offer him some comfort. You agree to go to the sermon with Emil and his siblings. Fuck you, Emil. You refuse the offer. Emil leaves without saying another word, and you turn to face his father. Seeing a grown-up sob like that makes your chest constrict with pity. You ask Alfred to explain why he doesn't believe the priest. The man wipes his face with his sleeve like a child before giving you an incredulous look. My gods are kind and merciful. Ascetiuses are cruel and indifferent. They are neither compassionate nor wise. But more importantly, they don't care about any of us. If all the younger does is punish people for their crimes, he's nothing more than an executioner, right? And if the elder forces his love on people whether they want it or not, how is he any different from a rapist? The twins that priest was talking about make people suffer all their lives and doom them to eternal damnation in the hereafter. That's just not right. The gods can't be like that. If they are, our life is meaningless. There's another type of clergy, those who preach the new faith. They know that the world can't possibly be built on such hopeless cruelty. Our priests can work miracles too. That means they're no less true than the fathers of the old faith. Even though his family has abandoned him, you see a spark of hope ignite in the broken man's red eyes. The crudely carved face of the elder watches you both mournfully. No matter who is right in this situation, it's clear that faith can both destroy lives and give strength to the weary. You say goodbye once Alfred is done talking. The conversation leaves you wondering if you can find your own path to the twins. Where will your path take you if you don't have a lot? I would kind of like to delve more into the religion here because I did delve into it in the previous game and it was very interesting. It had a very interesting end to it as well. So yeah, I hope we do delve more into that. And if I'm not mistaken, the timeline coincides, at least right now, with the first game because I do remember some of these names. So, because I remember what his name is, Milanitis. I think he was in the first game, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. I thought the king was also the king in the first game as well, but I could be wrong. On the Dangers of Progress, Eternal Weekly Issue 4 of the year 1130. We cannot remain silent about the flagrant violations of our traditions, customs, and rules forced upon us by Cornelius Tempest in the 6 years since he replaced Tarquinius Melanitis as the Grand Chancellor. Yeah, I think this happened in the first game. We expected the Emperor's brother to put the profiteers and commoners running rampant in the Empire in their place, restore age-old traditions, and support the Arcanian nobility. But instead, what do we see? Year after year, the Arcanians' standing gets progressively shakier as their gods' given rights are called into question. Every new law surpasses the last in its madness. The great chancellor's latest project encroaches upon the principle of estate-based lots, the very bedrock of our empire. A lowborn man isn't meant to rule. That seems like such an obvious premise, doesn't it? And yet Cornelius Tempest has established lesser quorums in the provinces to be filled with noble gentry, as well as wealthy commoners who have proven to be proficient in economic matters. Commoners are now participating in the rule of our empire. Just think about it. Money-grubbing merchants and industrialists are making decisions about the Archduke's taxes. Where will we end up after a few more years of Cornelius Tempest's reign? Before long, his absurd decision will have people whose backs remember the lash standing on par with the Arcanians. Centuries-old traditions will be trampled by a crowd of unwashed riffraff. On behalf of all the Emperor's concerned subjects, we entreat the Arcanian Tribune, Carius Monroe, to heed our call. It is his duty to rise to the defense of reason and tradition if the great chancellor has switched sides.
All right. Oh, okay. This is the Empire thing. I wasn't paying attention to that.
The looming future. This event is triggered by your previous actions. Greater than or equal to 3, I'm at 3. Or scholarship greater than or equal to 3, and I'm at a 6. Okay. Your quill pen makes scratching noises as it flits across the paper. The towering piles of dusty books, long scrolls, tally sheets, and letters take up almost all the space on your wide desk. You're helping Ferdinand with an assignment on the financial status of the Empire. Oh, God. Ferdinand sits next to you, absent-mindedly stroking the pages. The faraway look in his eyes suggests that he is not actually reading. God, if there's anything I hate more than that. I wonder if any of us can choose our fate. Does a person's name affect their path in life? Take Darren, for example. It's the name of a character from my favorite novel. Did I ever tell you? He's the main character's loyal friend who turns out to be just a mirror in the end. But when Darren reached out to touch him, the reflection met his stare with a sad smile. This is exactly what happened in the beginning. What the hell is going on? You reply that this is all very interesting, but you'd appreciate it if your friend Ferdinand would stop dragging his feet. Cornelius has trusted the two of you with a large, complex assignment that requires you to cross-reference a large number of sources and perhaps even draw conclusions not mentioned in the official reports. You're right. I just find it hard to concentrate on these dusty papers when there are so many things worthy of our attention out there. Don't you think assignments like this are a waste of your skills and time? Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful that Cornelius cares about our education. The assignments he gives us are getting more and more difficult, but we're coping with them well. But I feel like we're frittering our lives away with these boring affairs of the court. It's unbearable. There's a whole wide world out there waiting to be explored. We shouldn't be cooped up in here, poring over dead numbers and endless legalese. How is it that a good use of our talents? Should these financial reference books and dusty old catalogs be the limit of our ambitions? I say it's best to explore and change the world instead of just serving it. Wouldn't you agree? You shrugged, not sure what to say. All your great plans and ambitions for this evening boil down to a night out with Martha and Emil. They recently got their hands on a barrel of apple schnapps and invited you to try it together. Ferdinand sounds so passionate when he speaks about his calling in life. But what is your calling? It comes as an unpleasant surprise when you realize you don't really have a dream or even a concrete plan for your future. While you're still lost in thought, Ferdinand slams a palm against the wooden desk and continues his passionate speech. No. I don't know about you, but I'm not squandering my talent on other people's affairs. It's high time I listened to my heart and went after my own dreams. They're going to dissect the living person in the anatomical theater tonight. It's called vivisection. The man will suffer a lesser death, but just imagine the knowledge we'll obtain by witnessing the inner workings of his body. I'm going there. You can keep doing Cornelius's work if you want, but if you ask me, you'd be better to follow your own desires. You freeze in indecision as your eyes land on a line you fail to finish. Ferdinand's dream is quite contagious. It would be so exciting to witness a scientific breakthrough. But you promised to finish this report, and isn't studying the best way to invest in your future? And again, if you listen to your heart, what could be better than spending the night with your friends? Quote unquote friends. So I can leave with Ferdinand, I can stay and finish the assignment, or I can meet up with Emil and Martha. I am going to stick to this knowledgeable path that I'm doing right now and stay and finish the assignment. You tell Ferdinand that you're staying to finish the report. Cornelius has trusted you with an important task and you can't afford to let him down. You want to be thorough and live up to your mentor's expectations. Ferdinand hesitates, then leaves with a sigh. You return to your books. You feel bitter about missing out on both a get-together with your friends and the experiment, but the sacrifice adds a hint of heroic martyrdom to your studies. It's something to be proud of. Absorbed by your work, you completely lose track of time and look up from the papers only when you hear footsteps approaching. You two should be just about done now. I hope I'll find that I made the right call by trusting you with the Empire's financial report. The importance of this task cannot be overstated. But where is Ferdinand? You hesitate before admitting that Ferdinand left. Your mentor purses his lips in disappointment, but chooses not to comment. Trying not to feel too proud of yourself, you show him the results of your work. You explain that you've cross-referenced the data from several sources instead of trusting the official reports, just to be safe. As you should have. You've done a fine job. So what are your conclusions? You tell Cornelius that the Empire's coffers are depleting annually. You've managed to identify certain patterns. The Empire spends a small fortune on the Legion's upkeep, even though there hasn't been a war in centuries. This expense only serves to drain money from the treasury. Another considerable portion of gold is spent on the needs of Arcanians, both directly and indirectly. At the same time, all Arcanians are exempt from taxation and do not report the income generated by their lands or businesses. The sum spent, quote unquote, to maintain Arcanian greatness is quite hefty, contrary to official reports. You show Cornelius the numbers, which you've managed to find and cross-check. Not bad. I came to a similar conclusion, but it was imperative for you to follow this line of reasoning on your own. Your mentor puts a hand on your shoulder. You did well on the task I set for you. Hopefully this has given you a better understanding of the state of affairs in the Empire. Your future depends on it, but now it's time to get some rest. Cornelius Tempest gives you a nod before departing. Your thoughts wander as you put away the heavy tomes you used today. Is it possible to remedy the Treasury's complex woes without any undue upheaval? And what did Cornelius mean when he said that your future depends on what you've learned? Okay. I do not remember what happened in the last game as far as like general endings for people. I do remember if you took the religious route ending. And I think I remember one of the war endings and stuff like that. But again, I don't remember a lot of them because that was like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm 15 now. Today is a big day. There's a grand reception at the palace hosted by Cornelius. His Arcanian guests have already gathered for the evening. Gentlemen sip wine from crystal glasses, while ladies saunter up and down the halls, leaving trails of subtle exquisite sense behind. You're busy frantically practicing the speech you've prepared for the occasion. Your mentor plans to address the audience himself, but he asks you to round out his speech with a report. You're supposed to demonstrate that humans and Arcanians need to work together to better their shared future in the Empire. Cornelius has told you time and time again how important your part is. You need to pelt the audience with facts, examples, and evidence, planting the seed of doubt in the minds of even the most conservative guests. The ballroom is abuzz all around you. You see Ferdinand. He smiles and gives you an encouraging nod before returning to his conversation with an elegant Arcanian lady. Suddenly, a haughty-looking noble approaches you, a derisive sneer plastered on his face. You recognize him as Tarquinius Milanatus, the Arcanian who humiliated Martha's parents when you were having dinner together. His smile looks just as sinister as it did today. Cornelius has pinned a lot of hopes on you despite the fact that you're nothing but a half-baked youth. How reckless of him. Don't feel sad when the audience laughs you out of the room. This burden is simply too much for someone like you. The fault for your imminent failure lies solely with your mentor. Heat rushes to your face, but you grit your teeth and force out a smile. At a high society function such as this, conflict must be avoided at all costs. A bell rings and the whole room goes quiet. All eyes are on Cornelius, who has just joined the gathering. Your mentor takes the small podium in the center of the hall and stands there with a benevolent smile, his eyes slowly scanning the audience. He seems to have stepped straight out of a portrait, with his hair slicked back, his godlike brow on full display, and his high-collared embroidered tailcoat emphasizing his flawless posture. Cornelius's attendants must have spent hours on his appearance. Greetings, my friend. It's a joy to behold so many noble guests gathered together. I welcome the heads of the great houses, their esteemed families, and all the distinguished Arcanians to our soiree. Only those who decide the fate of our empire are present tonight. It's an honor to entertain you all. Our realm has been making strides in many areas of late. Progress is inevitable. Its sign evident to everyone by now. Signs keep forging ahead. Take gunpowder, for example. This invention has allowed us to mine deep underground, increasing our yield of silver and other valuable minerals many times over. The streets of Eterna and its newer houses are now lit with gas. The capital will soon consider candlelight and torches things of the past. And science isn't our only area of growth. Day by day, our lives are changing to meet the needs of the Empire's loyal subjects. The lesser quorums are now in full operation, which means that we collect more money in taxes and spend it more efficiently. Arcanians are the Empire's elite. By spearheading these changes and taking charge of progress, we'll be able to lead the realm to an era of prosperity beyond our ancestors' wildest dreams. The role of humans in our society is also subject to change. If Arcanians support these changes, our shared future could be truly great. Cornelius' speech goes on for a while. You check your notes as you listen, nervous about your own part. A servant suddenly touches your elbow. You whip around in annoyance. It will be your turn to go on stage soon. Who decided it was all right to distract you and why? The servant hands you a note before stepping aside with a slight bow. You unfold the piece of paper impatiently. This is Martha's handwriting. Dear Darren, the butler just came to tell us that my parents are being deported from Eterna. Emil and the little ones have been ordered to vacate the capital immediately as well. They say the order comes from the great chancellor himself, and there's nothing we can do about it. We're leaving today. Sorry if my handwriting is hard to read. I'm in a hurry helping Mom pack. We might never see each other again, and it hurts me terribly, but I want to at least say goodbye. Come see us as soon as you can. I hope you can make it. You feel a lump rise in your throat. Blinking In an effort to hold back tears, you fold the note back up. So that's what Cornelius had in mind when he talked about the coming changes and the refined, cultured humans who might shift the Arcanians' attitude towards the human race. Your friends seem to have become collateral damage from the great changes your mentor is planning. You still have the chance to see them, or maybe even stop them from leaving. But what about your speech? You spent days preparing for it, and Cornelius has emphasized its importance numerous times.
Well,
Sorry, guys. Let me deliver a well thought out speech. You jot down some words of encouragement on the back of Martha's note, promising to come as soon as you can. You ask her to wait for you. Just as you hand the note to the servant, Cornelius announces your presentation. But don't just take my word for it. All my claims can be proven with facts, and my mentee is prepared to present you with irrefutable evidence. You take the podium and begin your report. The pressure makes your palms sweat. You have the most important parts written down, but you've read them so many times, you know them by heart. You deliver a report on the latest inventions. Workers in Illyria have mastered the purification of iron. This breakthrough now lets the Empire create highly durable steel that is impervious to rust. You declare that the Empire's future will be shared between Arcanians and humans. One of the nobles gives you a disdainful sneer. Arcanians already dress humans in their clothes, give them noblemen's swords, and put their names in the blue book, he taunts. What's next? Should the great houses put their ancestors' mask on humans and seek their counsel? You react with a calm shrug. Humans have abandoned their ancient barbaric customs in favor of Arcanian culture. It would be remiss to blame them for being good students and Arcanians for being good teachers. This gives the dissenter pause, while the other guest nods in agreement. You round out your speech by stressing that the shared future of humans and Arcanians depend on the people gathered here tonight. Arcanians need to spearhead the changes in the Empire and lead humans into a better society. The end of your speech is met with thunderous applause. You see nobles nodding to you in respect. You hear approval in their voices. When you descend from the podium, Cornelius gives you a clap on the shoulder. He's genuinely proud of you. Your triumph is intoxicating. The countless hours spent poring over books have finally paid off. This night has shown you the shape of the future your mentor has been telling you about. You thank everyone who offers you their hand to shake before hastily slipping out of the room. You still need to see your friends before they leave. You run along the dark streets your run along the dark streets is short-lived. You're forced to stop at the palace square, panting and out of breath, when you see a procession of carts loaded with gloomy people and their worldly possessions slowly disappearing down a dark alley. The old servants are leaving the city. Try as you might to find Martha or Emil in the throng of carts, your friends are nowhere to be found. You start running towards Martha's house. The house stands abandoned, the cupboards inside gaping black and empty. There are household items strewn haphazardly all over the floor. The cat your friend's family left behind rubs against your leg with a sad meow. The note you sent to Martha lies on the table, unopened. Well, I got teacher's pet. And now my so-called friends are gone. And now I'm 16. Wow, I haven't been 16 for quite some time. Tempest. You are awoken by the quiet sounds of footsteps outside your door. Cornelius enters your room, his face deathly serious. You sit up in your bed, rubbing the sleep from your eyes. You're about to ask about the reason for this sudden visit, but your mentor beats you to the punch. Wake up, Darren. The night of your making has come. You're no fool. I think you've worked quite a lot of things out by now. For instance, why you have no lot, why no one ever talks about your parents, or why we Arcanians have taken such a keen interest in you. I took you on as my mentee to prepare you for your life, your real life. You're finally ready. Your mentor's figure looms over you like the ancient monster from the Tempest banners. Darren, you will be killed tonight. Your heart skips a beat, and your breath catches in your throat. This is clearly not a joke, but you struggle to wrap your head around what your mentor has just said. You want to object, but the words stick in your suddenly parched throat. Your body had to grow and get strong enough to handle the blood tide. It will fill you, dissolve you. Today is the day of your death, and the day of your true birth as an Arcanian and the heir to the Empire. Arcanians tend to keep their children behind closed doors until the rite of passage. There's no point in investing your time and effort into someone who will die in the blood tide, making way for their real self. Blood is what grants Arcanians their strength, knowledge, and greatness. But I don't like to rely solely on blood. I wanted you to have the ability to withstand the tide. I felt it is important that you grow as a person, form your own opinions, have a will of your own. You had to be prepared for the future of the blessed Arcanian Empire. Lies in your hands. You are the son of Emperor Uthar II. Your true name is Jerian Tempest. Let the color of your skin not fool you. You are not human like your friend Emil, nor a bastard like your brother Ferdinand. Your mother, Servilia, gave you one of her lives. You are a pure-blooded Arcanian, and only those like you can take into themselves the legacy of the blood tide. I wanted the years you spent among humans to remain with you, that you might know not only the Arcanian world, but also the human world, that the blood tide would not swallow you utterly, and that some trace of the boy called Darren would endure and the heir to the throne. I know you are frightened. You do not want to die, and would rather be reborn a common man, far from the capital. Live somewhere in Magra, quarrel with your brothers, protect your sisters, go to school with the neighbors' boys. That is not your fate. You must experience death and make way for Jerian Tempest. In this, you have no choice. But I have done all I could for you. I hope that as heir, you will retain at least part of what I've taught you, Darren. You break out in cold sweat as a shiver runs down your spine. Is there really nothing you can do? Is this really the end? Servants help you put on a strange, completely white garb before leading you after Cornelius. Your mentor is silent. The only sounds that fill the empty hallways are your echoing footsteps. You follow Cornelius, your legs weak as you descend the winding staircase of the palace and enter the cold family crypt. You see stone columns looming in the shadows. Dragon statues bare their teeth at you. Torchlight flickers across the faces frozen on the walls. The death mask of the Tempests, the great ancestors of the ruling family. There's a large stone altar in a niche carved onto one of the walls. Beside it stands Emperor Uthar Tempest II in the flesh. He holds a golden chalice and a lavishly decorated knife. You take an involuntary step backwards, but Cornelius's strong hand on your shoulder prevents you from retreating any further. Suddenly, an imposing Arcanian lady appears right next to you. You only catch a glimpse of her face, but that is enough to recognize her as Empress Servilia, your mother. She grips your shoulder like a vice as she forces you to kneel at the altar. Your knees buckle without any resistance. You're powerless against this woman's surprising strength. Emperor Uthar drags the blade across his palm first. Blue blood wells up in his cupped hand, several droplets falling into the chalice. Mesmerized, you can only watch them bubble up and expand, spilling over like a tide. The stream of blood paints the entire altar blue. As the Emperor lets his blood flow freely, the death mask on the wall open their mouths in silent screams, blue blood pouring from their waxy maws and eye sockets. The ichor streams down the altar, cascading from the walls and columns and pooling on the floor by your knees. Let the blood tide accept my son, blood of my blood. Let my son become part of the Tempest's blood tide. Servilia runs a gentle hand through your hair, but then her grip turns punishing, and she forces your head backwards. The Emperor holds his bloody knife to your throat. A scream of terror and pain is wrenched from somewhere deep inside you. You feel cold steel bite into your flesh. Your heart, red blood gushes down the front of your garment. You choke, unable to scream or even breathe. Desperate hands press against the wound, but your strength leaves you with every passing second. Your body slumps onto the stone floor as its lifeblood pulses out of it. You try to cry out, but the solid stream of blue tempest blood fills your every orifice. The tide is so high, it covers you completely. You drown in its fathomless depths. All you can see is the cold blue void. Something breaks inside of you as the wave strikes you. You're like a scraped piece of clay in a potter's hands, squashed and reshaped by the power of the hundreds of generations contained in the blood tide. You hear whispers, the sound barely there at first. Other voices soon join the first. The sounds build up to a discordant cacophony, growing progressively louder. Your head pounds. The voices are tearing you apart. Your ancestors demand that you open your mind to the blood tide, become one with it, disappear into it without a trace. Darren must die. You are an Arcanian now. You are Jerian Tempest. Your blood could grant you almost limitless power, unless you resist. Is sacrificing your entire life up to this point worth that kind of power? Do you value what has happened to you? Or was it just a means to an end, a path that has led you here? Do you have anyone you truly care about, anyone worth fighting for? Or is melding with your ancestors, joining the blood tide that is your birthright, your only way forward? Interesting. So you can resist it. I'm curious on, well, I guess you would need like passion and all that stuff. But yeah, but let the blood tide carry me away. The blood tide rushes into you, shattering your identity into tiny pieces. It melts the fragments like acid, crushes and stretches them, leaving you empty. And then it fills the void with its own essence. You let go, allowing the blood tide to consume you and carry you away. Your mind clears after a while. Darren is dead. You are now who you were supposed to become all along. You are Jerian Tempest, the heir to the throne of the blessed Arcanian Empire. Your previous life feels alien and distant, as if you simply read about it in some book. The memories are mere shadows of what they were just minutes ago. Cornelius's teachings, the endless lessons with Fernand, your touching friendship with Emil, the affection you felt for Martha. Everything that seemed so important before now feels utterly, absurdly pointless. The doubts you once felt about the future are no more. Your fate is set in stone. The human life you led was just a step along the path to your real Arcanian life. You found all the answers you were looking for. The power of your ancestors run through your veins, giving you all the support you need. You get up from the floor standing tall and proud. You feel invincible. The blood tide will always be a part of you, just as you are now a part of it. All the Tempests who ever lived stand with you. You are the heir of the blood tide, its continuation. Your life is rooted in ancient times, but still represents the Empire's new era. You are the tip of the spear that pierces through time. Personal resource, 15, Legacy of the Tempests. Huh. Okay. All right, so that is the end of the chapter. I did not actually expect it to go that way. Your childhood is over, as is your previous life. You've died and been reborn. What will your life look like now that you are an Arcanian and the heir to the great house Tempest? You don't know, but you're eager to start this new chapter of your story, spurred on by your dreams and aspirations. I'm assuming this is where the demo will end. And I got some apprenticeship. I got some diplomacy, got some management, and I got some scholarship. All right. So that is the end of the demo. That was very, very good. The story was very interesting. I'm glad it kind of expounded upon some of the stuff that we saw in the first game. And I'm really curious now to play some of the other pathways, because I'm imagining if you turn around and resist the blood tide, that would be a very interesting playthrough. So yeah, I'm kind of curious on how that goes. I think the only thing that I probably would have done differently was like add some more childhood friends or whatnot, maybe some childhood friends. And I guess Ferdinand kind of does represent that for the blue blood side, but kind of like another love interest there too, because like you only have Martha and it seems kind of a little bit forced, but I think the first game kind of did something similar to that too. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes, especially since you are kind of shoehorned into the noble role, but you're going to be controlling the entire empire. And I wonder how the first game kind of plays into that, if maybe some decisions are going to come over, or maybe you'll choose some of those decisions in the beginning and that kind of affects things and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. That was really interesting. I really did like that. Well, anywho, if you like the video, like the video. If you like to see more content like this, subscribe. I have a lot of things on the channel like this, such as the first game, and I will have many more things in the future, such as this game. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one that hopefully won't be in several years. See ya.